Hi, Venice Keys, aka LaShawn Fouché. Welcome to my home studio. This is the first time I've ever recorded myself in this space, but I am so glad to be talking with you about some selected current pieces that I've actually been working on for a really long time, but I found ways to overlap them into different projects. But first, a little bit about me. I went to Morgan Park High School. Go Mustangs! I went there from middle school and that's like 7th and 8th grade. I was in their accelerated program up until high school. And fun fact, I've only technically done 3 years of high school due to just taking classes and getting those credits early. And then I bounced, graduated early, and went to Bradley University. Go Braves! I got my bachelor's in fine art there, and I did a lot of things for art. I was very involved in trying to build the community of the art department, but I remember going through so much anxiety and stress trying to please my professors and make work, and then when I would present work that was about like my culture or my blackness, my classmates would kind of just be uncomfortable and not really know how to respond. So for a while, I transitioned away from very like overt images about blackness to putting it in non-representational work. So I started to do paintings to just kind of deal with other feelings. I grew up with divorced parents, but they co-parented and, worked together, but it came with some strife, and those feelings didn't really come out until I was in undergrad at Bradley. So getting in the BFA program, I discovered how color and texture and pattern, I could just like talk through the work and really process the feelings differently. And that was my first time where color and like art therapy really happened organically and intentionally for me. I basically based my whole BFA show around the idea of objects in home and dealing with all of the things that were bothering me and not helping me function. But yeah, it was through the BFA that I could do that. And I actually started doing assemblage sculptures for the first time. I had hair weaves and nail tips and all types of things in my studio collecting because both of my parents are in the hair industry or were. My dad's a barber, my mom's a hairstylist, and so a lot of the aesthetic and materials and questions about identity would stem from that in my art. Going to public school, sometimes I was a latchkey kid and sometimes they would just bring me to work. And so being around those objects, they would sometimes become toys, and hearing conversations and just understanding the social dynamics of womanhood and just community and family from those spaces, it was a big impression on me, and so it shows up in my work a lot. And if you hear music in the background, that's my neighbors rocking, so we're just going to benefit from their party. And so the style of my artwork really evolved. It evolved from this non-representation thing, and then the colors started to be more like red, black, and green by the time I got to graduate school. And I didn't take a break. As soon as I graduated in 2013, I went straight to Illinois State. And the objects started being made more. I started making more sexualized images of black women. I started to emphasize afros as like expressive gesture lines, because at the time I had an afro. I did not have these wonderful locks that I had now. And I was, I guess, like just dealing with, I focused so much on being black, and womanhood. Woman was just a word. It wasn't, I didn't have like visuals for it, I felt like, by the time I got to graduate school. So then it transitioned to nudity and playfulness and colored toned paper and bright colors. And it wasn't that I was trying to make people uncomfortable, but showing those nude bodies made some of my professors uncomfortable. People were like, is she gay? What's going on? Which I didn't, it never registered to me that at the time how much I was queer, but I was just making the work. I wasn't like out at that time. And then the evolution of my style changed as graduate school happened, I started to engage with the subtleties more. I didn't want to be like Sambo lips, black power fists. I was trying to find more delicate and, like I said, subtle ways to address race, gender, class, sex, black womanhood, all of the things. And it wasn't until I found the Women's and Gender Studies department, and which is now the Women's and Gender Studies Sexuality department at Illinois State, that my research really blossomed. I was awarded a couple grants for creating 2 different exhibitions where there were objects in bookbinding. And I was very interested during graduate school in exploring the relationship between myself and my mother and my grandmother, and examining how the U.S. society in marginalized, my family's, these women experiences in my family from like a micro level and a macro level. And I did that just so that I could just try to find some more peace and forgiveness. I figured if I could explore their pain from a ethnological kind of approach, that maybe it wouldn't hurt so bad, and maybe I could find some solace and some reasoning. And oh my gosh, the day of the opening, with me trying to read my artist statement, I was like crying. I was a mess. And that just goes to, show that my work is so deeply connected to my feelings, which is not productive as a businesswoman, where it's like, oh, I'm sad, I can't work. Like, I can't do that. First, I will show you the dolls. So the dolls feel very spiritual. So some of them have very contrasting color palettes. And I love to reclaim jewelry that gets left behind or broken. Asymmetry, playing with texture, using cowrie shells. I love using seed beads in different sizes of things. Here's some more asymmetry. Different types of patterns and fabrics. These dolls, like I said, have been a long thread in my life. I've always felt very drawn to fabric and hand stitching and embroidery. Oh, here's one of my favorites. And some of these things don't have finished all the limbs, and that's because I think they just feel a little bit more like ethereal and spiritual like that. And really not a cop-out. Not a cop-out, but it's like, I like this, but I do want it to function on an altar, and I want it to function with things, and it is my dream to package my spirit doll experience and in a way that I can share it in group work and as workshops and individually. So yes, these things are very near and dear to my heart. I really enjoy. Some of them have like fabrics from an African import store. Some of this is fabrics from just clothes that my children and my family don't want to use. And my children's energy greatly influences my home studio as well. Whenever I'm not in here like working and putting in work, they're chilling and they're being kids and they're putting their innocent nature into it. Oh, I love this one. So I use a lot of found material. This blue netting is comes from like grocery store fruit. So whenever you have oranges or anything that comes in this netting, like I save it, and you should save it too. I got broken pieces of jewelry. This is like a shirt that my kid didn't want to wear anymore. I love using buttons and sequins and large. I make decisions about organization of beads and movement. Still like a painter. I'll show you a few of these. So I found these like wicker placemats, and then I would collage fabric on beads, nail tips. I started to crochet these noose-like shapes, and then just kind of strands that felt like hair. Sometimes they would have 2 prongs on them, and I would glue it to the side, so in the front and the backs were done. So here we have a lot of hair weave is involved, a lot of asymmetry. This is braided hair. So braided hair and crochet mixed together. Simplified shapes for the female body. Painterly sense of organizing things. I like to have soft forms on a lot of this. And I use it in my clothes too. This dress that I designed for myself has the soft form on it. I just really think they're neat. And even in the clothes I upcycle for myself, I was very interested in reusing. Like I said, I'm an artist and I try to be very eco-conscious in my choices. And then we have this beautiful simplified figure. Doing acrylic paintings on wood panels. So a lot of parts in this are new. I'm using rhinestones in the work. This is an oak tree from Mississippi. I'm cross-referencing patterns from an African dress that my wife has with mud cloth patterns. The beading and the style of this woman is Zulu, and that carries over in some other paintings. I'm really interested in the galaxy and fruit, so there are some rhinestones in that. There are apples swirling around the solar system. So to scale, we have the sun, there's planet here, Earth, and it just keeps going up. And yeah, I've been working on this for a while, and I'm the kind of artist where like my emotions and my feelings are very much so a part of what I do. This painting started off with an emphasis of the crawling Bantu knot woman. And there's just so much happening color-wise. I'm really big on non-representational abstraction. We have a couple of dinker symbols repeating. There's a lot of brush strokes. I feel like it's just a bit busy, and I want to have I think I need to have some spots of calm, create a little bit more resting spots. I'm trying to create negative space built up between it, and I'm approaching this acrylic painting like an oil painting, but I'm trained in oil, so this painting I've been working on for a while. I just kind of opened up this side. It used to be a gold curtain here, but we have holographic tablets with mummified cats and African masks, and this is trying to be a mythical, futuristic scene. Stepping outside of my comfort zone, but I was inspired by the Four of Swords tarot. So Four of Swords is where this comes from. She has a sword here. There are 3 swords in the stained glass. So I'm looking forward to finishing it. Like I said, I'm the kind of artist where my feelings get me really wrapped up, and I gotta like cut that out because I know that's like not good for business. But whatever. My heart is in it. So this is the last current piece I'm working on. Another tarot interpretation, still in progress. At first it was just a woman, in a stunning gown. So normally with the Queen of Wands, she has a staff in one hand and a sunflower in the other. But I didn't want them to be so static, so her arms are crossing. And fun fact, this actually used to be a mermaid painting. It was a mermaid, and she was gonna be like dancing, but then I just changed it. I was just over that imagery, and I went with the tarot instead. And now her locks that were like flowing in the wind, I added a Zulu traditional hat, and there's going to be some beading in front, and I'm going to play off of the pattern of the evening gown here. And her cat panther is looking up at her, watching, intently waiting. There's a septarian stone in the staff because I have septarian, and I felt like the meaning of septarian went well with the Queen of Wands and what it stood for. So there's that. Let's see. Oh, this other doll. Oh, forgot this. Love this doll. This wooden beads in here. Patterns. So, yeah, you've seen all the current things in my studio. Thank you so much for looking at the work and being here. And this is going to be the first of many studio visits. So thanks. And I don't know what else to say. What did I say for that? Thank you. Okay. Thanks for watching. Watch again.